confidence in us. And
Everybody, listen carefully.
You're listening to the SEC Insider Hit on the Bolt Bound Show.
Fueled by Fleetway Market.
Fuel up your car and cooler at Fleetway this football season.
Let's go.
Good morning. Welcome in. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Aplos, Simply Mediterranean. Aplos in Jackson with their amazing pizzas, Greek wings, gyros. Aplos in the Renaissance. Both places, outdoor areas to sit and hang out and enjoy the weather. And don't forget about the green space in front of Aplos in the Renaissance. So, one, it's cool. Two, if you have kids, they can roam around there. We didn't have those type places. Well, not many. You got more and more green spaces popping up. That's good. Good. Places to hang out, enjoy the weather, dine, have a beverage, and let the kids roam around. That's always good if you can find that. The station did that too in Fondren. They've got a huge green space in the back of that. And they're slinging pizzas. They're right there by Highball Lanes. That was a good call, too. They're getting ready for a huge St. Patrick's Day event at the station down in Fondren. I guess, it makes sense. People will go down there for a little while, but then they'll want to plant somewhere else, go by, get some pizzas, some beers, and you got a huge green space, and they'll have a band and all that down in the station in Fondren. Jason, so we've got to get a team in March Madness, and that's going to be, like it usually is, up to Mississippi State. They got to win a game Saturday against the South Carolina Gamecocks. And I don't like the matchup on the wings, either wing, actually. But Hub's light years better than he was on January, whatever that was, 4th. And he's played a lot more basketball. Mississippi State basically has one scorer, Hub. And then you don't really know what you're going to get offensively. And Tolu was a no-show last night, that's a wow. That's a big wow. And then Cam didn't play well. Both of them not playing well is not a recipe for success. You get down by 20 plus, and then you try to come, roaring back behind your freshman, storming back, and a little bit of Davis. Tolu did finally show up. I think he scored with 18 minutes and 41 seconds left in the game for the first time. That's unbelievable to me. I would have lost. Jason would have said that yesterday. I'd have put thousands on that. Not a bucket? Oh, man, I'd have loaded the boat. What would have been the odds?
Oh, gotta be something crazy.
Good grief. And Cam was 6 turnovers. So you didn't deserve to win the game. You didn't win the game. You played poorly. And, you made it a game in the second half, but you never really felt like you were going to turn the corner. So you got to beat South Carolina at home in the Hump on Saturday. All the kids will be gone, so I don't know what the crowd will look like. Spring break started today. I heard people chattering, leaving today, tomorrow, Saturday, all around. So we'll see if the alums show up. And I think you'll have a good alum turnout, but you're also going to lose a lot of them because parents go travel too. Obviously, I don't expect anybody to go to the Ole Miss game, but Mississippi State, needs to have at least a decent crowd to try to have some kind of home field advantage over South Carolina. When you played them, I don't think they realized how good they were. I don't think any of us realized how good they were going to be. They were picked 14th in the league, and Lamont went out and got some dudes. Mississippi State totally missed in the transfer portal. Unbelievable. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9, and yet they could go to the tournament. Got nothing out of the transfer portal and could go to the tournament.
Someone on the text line made a good point. State shot 7 free throws last night.
Yeah.
A&M shot 20.
Right. And when you don't go, it was like Ole Miss fans. See, I'm not going to do this. It was like Ole Miss fans complaining a couple of weeks ago when they didn't take the ball to the rim and didn't penetrate and didn't take, try to take the lane or the low post. Right. And when you do that, what do? You manufacture, generate fouls, which can put you on the free throw line. But if you settle for jump shots and three-pointers, then what happens? You're not going to get those opportunities. And that's what they did. And with Tolu MIA and Cam not playing well with 6 turnovers, who was going to take it to the rim? Murphy was not.
Yeah.
So that was not officiating. That's not where I'm going to go. That was, you've got to give yourself opportunities by taking the ball aggressively to the glass and to the rim, and or feeding the low post and your post player actually doing something with it. But give Buzz Williams credit, man. First of all, A&M couldn't miss the first half.
Right.
Second, Buzz drew up some funky defenses, and it really, it's not hard to do this because Mississippi State's offense is so hit and miss. But it really disrupted any kind of flow and rhythm that Mississippi State wanted until the second half, when they just started scoring and cut the lead. Went on a, whatever it was, 18-point run, but wasn't enough to do what they wanted to do. And again, A&M hit, they hit 8 threes, Mississippi State hit 9, Hubbard hit 5. Yeah. So there you are. And A&M was you could tell from the jump, A&M took the fight to Mississippi State. And I guess you could say MSU let Kentucky beat them 3 times. I don't know. You could make that argument. I mean, I didn't expect them to go to Auburn. And like Pat Forty wrote a couple weeks ago, this gauntlet, I mean, it's not what some other teams are finishing with. Mississippi State plays, at LSU, Kentucky at home, at Auburn, at A&M, South Carolina at home to end the year. Brutal.
That's what's rough for State, is that State goes through kind of like streaks of, well, you got 5 winnable games right here. And then they ended up winning all 5. And then you got, okay, well, now here comes some really hard teams to end the season.
Yeah.
It's like you get a good streak of weaker SEC teams, and then you get tossed right back into the South Carolinas, the Auburns, the Kentuckys.
Yeah. Yeah. And you went 0 for 3 on that stretch. So got to win this one. You're in the tournament, or it looks really, really, really good. And then maybe get another one in Nashville for seeding. We'll see. We'll know the seeding Saturday night for Nashville in the SEC tournament. We had Paul Feinbaum on yesterday, and he talked about Nick Saban and their relationship and shared some stories with us. And he shared one that had to do with the Rolling Stones concert, and we thought it was really, really good. This is Feinbaum on the show talking Saban.
We got back to Tuscaloosa, and we were at his camp one day in the summer, so he was relaxed. And he, as the camp was ending, we went into his office, and he said, "I got to tell you something." He said, "Don't tell anybody." I mean, I thought, man, I'm about to get a major scoop here. He goes, "I'm going to see the Stones tonight in Atlanta." And he started talking about music. And this conversation, Bo, went on 30 or 40 minutes. And then he proceeded to tell me that after every game, he and Terry get in the car and they put on "Gimme Shelter." And then his favorite record of all time is some Eagles live in Tokyo. And he started going through all the songs. And I mean, it was truly, and he told me about meeting John Mellencamp once and going to a Springsteen concert with Bill Belichick. And I mean, to me, that was fascinating because it was so unlike anything I'd ever heard from Nick Saban.
That was Paul Feinbaum on the show yesterday. How about that? The guy, it's summertime. They're running one of their camps. He's a little relaxed, whatever that is. And he asks Feinbaum to come back to his office. And he's like, "Hey, man, I'm going to the Rolling Stones tonight." And you know what? He's human. You know how we thought he was a robot for years?
Right.
And just came out of, Mars or Pluto with these, supernatural powers. A little bit like Superman, a little bit alien. And Nick Saban went to a Rolling Stones concert and then talked about John Cougar Mellencamp and plays "Gimme Shelter" with Terry Saban after games. Holy smokes. What do we do?
That's all I wanted out of that. That's all I wanted from Saban. I just wanted to know that he had like a little kid side that he freaks out about going to see certain people or, is still starstruck by celebrities. Because when you're the GOAT, people just think, like you said, they don't think of you as human. They think of you as a winner. Like, he's just a champion.
So think about this. Nick Saban, who is a champion, right? A national champion many times over, is sitting there in the summer talking to Paul Feinbaum. And he's excited and exuberant and like a kid, like we all are when we're going to something really fun, like a Rolling Stones concert. And I think that's a cool factor. And we can actually relate to the GOAT on that because we've all been to a big concert that we get excited about with our friends, our family. And we talk about it for a few days or a week. And you run into somebody and you talk to them, and if they care, they're like, "Oh man, that's awesome! We're going to see you too, or the Stones." Yeah, cool. And then you talk about it when you get back. And he has more relatability than we think, and he's going to show that on TV. As a media person, he is. He's going to do a really good job. He'll be good.
I think so, too. I think it's exciting that we're going to have two GOATs now in front of the screen for football, like Tom Brady and Nick Saban. I mean, is there one that you think is immediately going to be better? Like, do you think Tom's going to be better right out of the gate, or do you think Saban's more comfortable?
I think they're both going to be fantastic because they have been doing this forever. If you coached from 1968 to 1987, you didn't have near the media experience. If you played from 1970 to 1981, you didn't have close to the media experience. What John Madden was able to do, considering the time period that he coached, and then when he entered into broadcasting, is still just remarkable. But I think Saban and Tom Brady there'll be a relatability factor there, even though they are have all the rings, have an enormous amount of money, and fly on jets for travel. They still both have something about their work ethic and what got them to Michigan and the New England Patriots and what got Saban to Kent State as a player and eventually the NFL and then Michigan State, LSU, and Bama.
Right.
Yeah. I think it'll be they'll both be excellent and work hard at it. Not in the same hours invested as being an NFL quarterback or a head coach for the Alabama Crimson Tide, but still a lot.
Right.
I think they'll be really good.
Yeah, that's what I hope out of this is that we get more of this side of Saban when he's an announcer,
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know how much so that'll probably be a little bit different platform if somebody like Feinbaum or Herbstreit or Chris Lowe or McAfee can actually get him down for an hour and just let him tell stories. I don't think there's going to be quite as much of that on the game day set, but I do think that he can share. I mean, he's going to be able to share amazing little tidbits of experiences. He's been on the biggest stage. He's coached in the biggest games. He's won huge games. He's lost. He's been there and done that and seen it all, even more so than Kirby and DeBoer and Kelly and these guys that we're kind of we're all wanting to know who's the next. Nobody's going to be the next Saban.
Right.
I think we're kind of asking ourselves who's going to be the next Dabo. Who could do that? Who could rise up and be kind of the boy wonder for a few years, win a title or two. Kirby's already done that, but he is at a blue blood. I don't consider, even though Clemson's a phenomenal program, they're not a top 5 program. It's Ohio State, Georgia, Bama, and then it gets weird.
Texas, maybe.
LSU, because if you've won 3 titles with 3 different coaches, I've always said LSU, like there's something in the water there. Easier is not the word I'm looking for, but there is If Les Miles and Ed Ogeron can win championships there, that tells me that thing is nasty. It is a monster. More so than Bama, more so than Georgia, more so than Florida, Texas, Texas A&M, maybe even Ohio State and Southern Cal. There's just something about that state, the commitment, the athletes that they produce, even for the population that they have, and the fact that they're going to keep 95% of them. And they operate differently, as we all know. We've all been around Louisiana people and Cajun people and the blood and the competitiveness, and they're loud and they're obnoxious, and we love them. And as much as this state likes to compete and is tough and rural, and Alabama likes to compete and is tough and is rural, and considering the populations of both these states, it's incredible the athletes that we produce, because we love it. We're from the country and we're from rural areas, and that's all we do is play outside and play hard.
Yeah.
And there's something different about Louisiana. I mean, they won a national championship with 3 different coaches. 2 of them are solid at best. Average, maybe.
They also win at everything.
Well, that's what I tweeted about a week or so ago. An LSU fan was asking me about where they were basketball-wise. I said, you don't have to be great at LSU as a basketball coach to win.
Right.
I'm not saying you don't have to be talented, but you don't have to be great. Like Mississippi State and Ole Miss need a dude as a coach to win. Okay? LSU, yes, they need a pretty good coach, but you're just going to get players, Jason. You just are. And in baseball, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Not that Maneri and Jay Johnson are not really good, because I do think that they are. Hey, the Ag Up Equipment text line, 601-885-3776. 885-3776. It's driven by your next John Deere tractor at Ag Up Equipment. The full Paul Feinbaum interview on Nick Saban is on Apple Podcast and Spotify. You can search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. It's Jason knows what Feinbaum texted me after the interview, which I thought was pretty cool. It's one of the better interviews we've done. And I think we crushed it with Kenny Mayne lately, ESPN SportsCenter legend. I think we crushed it with Dan Fouts and Larry Boa, former Phillies, Cubs player, and manager. But Feinbaum was really good on Saban. So if you want to listen to the full interview, or Jason broke it out too, we break out the stuff for you. So you've got full segments, but then you've got segments that are only 7 or 8 minutes, so that you're on your way to lunch today to meet a client, friend, buddy, your wife, whoever, your, Uncle Jack. He's a good dude.
Oh, yeah. No,
okay?
He is. Yeah.
All right. So you're on your way, and you got 7 or 8 minutes from the office. There are literally dozens of 7 to 8 minute segments on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. Also, we've got the video, and we cut that up too, where we give you 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute videos on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. I want to give away a $25 gift certificate to Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue.
Ooh.
And Tito's Vodka dog toy, and those cool Out of Bounds bottle top cap.
Yeah, right.
Hats are awesome. Wendy was wearing hers yesterday. She looks a lot better than I do. And so that's what I want to do. I want to give away that. We'll have to figure out what we want our listeners to do. We want them to show us that they're subscribed to Apple Podcast or Spotify. Apple Podcast or Spotify. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds, or YouTube, search Out of Bounds Sports. But then we want to ask them a question.
I think we should ask for their reaction to Zach Arnett to Ole Miss. Is it nothing? Is it worth?
Is it a nothing burger? Is it worth getting fired up about? Is it in between?
Right.
Okay. All right. What is your reaction to Zach Arnett as a defensive analyst for Ole Miss? Former Mississippi State coach who was fired 10 games in? 9 or 10 games in his first year. He took Mike Leach's place. He's a good dude. Zach, I wonder how that's going to work. What do you do as an analyst? Come in and drink some coffee, eat a cinnamon roll, and watch tape?
If that's what an analyst does, sign me up.
Okay, so you can't coach on the field and you can't recruit. So I guess you're in the digital cut-up room.
But I guess you're with Golden game planning, or you're just, or do you spend a lot of time?
I don't think all analysts are. I think assistant coaches are.
Right.
Maybe one analyst, but that's a good question.
Yeah, I didn't know.
We'll do a day in the life of an analyst. Ooh. Kind of has a little bit of guiding light in it.
Okay. I could see that, like a TV show like The Office or something.
Yeah, a day in the life of a college football analyst. A day in the life of a college football analyst. I'm going to start shooting off some texts to assistants during the break and let them frame up kind of what that looks like. Zach Arnett to Ole Miss. Your reaction. Plus, show us that you're subscribed to either Apple Podcast, Spotify, which is our audio version, right? Or YouTube page, which is Out of Bounds Sports. And you can do this via the text line, 601-885-3776. $25 gift certificate to Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue. Tito's Vodka Dog, what is it, biscuit toy?
Toy.
And an Out of Bounds hat. It's our bottle cap hat, which I really, really like. Actually, it's on the screen right now, right behind me. That's it. If you're watching on YouTube, search Out of Bounds Sports. Kiffin bashes the transfer portal again.
Yep. Yeah, Lane is he keeps talking about the changing landscape of the transfer portal and NIL. And he mentions multiple times, when he's talking about it, he's like, look, we're benefiting from this. And I'm still saying it's this bad. So Kiffin, I mean, how many times is this now that we've had audio from Lane Kiffin talking about the transfer portal?
It's been a lot.
It's got to be at least 5 since I've been here, and that's, not even a year.
Right,
So,
right. All right, the Out of Bounds show is driven by your next Ford F-150 truck. Mack Hike Ford, I-55 North in Jackson. Pre-owned or new Ford F-150 trucks, Mack Hike Ford, I-55 North in Jackson. So we've got college football playoff news. We're going to go to 14 teams. You feel like that? There's still a lot of buzz about Florida State leaving the ACC. That's going to happen. We believe, 95% chance. Once they go, who else is going? Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, NC State, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. Did I miss anybody? And then what does that number look like as far as the exit fees? Will it be over $1 billion? Jeez. For the ACC? I'm serious. Where's Florida State going to land? 150, 200 million, 250. This is going to be wild. We're going towards a Super 2 with the SEC and the Big Ten, 2 Super Leagues, and then are we going to have one more league under it? And then G5.
It's going to get real weird.
Yeah, it is. It is. Maybe the college football playoff will start in like September 15th in a few years. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. The Out of Bounds show is brought to you by Aplos in Jackson and Aplos in Highland Village. Back in just a sec.